Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Each motion can be transformed into an achievement of the spirit, commitment to the evolution of consciousness, and the onrushing whirlwind of events will lead to a new turn of the cosmic spiral. Please continue watching for the messages from the venerated Master Morya, as recorded by his disciples Nicholas and Helena Roerich, vegetarians.
If you ever visit charming Moldova and its gorgeous natural landscapes, you would also appreciate hearing the heartwarming Vă doresc o zi plăcută from the locals, which means have a nice day in Romanian, the official language of the country. Beautiful viewers, I am Evelina. The caring people of Moldova cherish you and your virtuous way of life, as it is how you change the world for the better. May the heavens always keep you safe. Welcome to Yoga, the supreme bridge to cosmic attainment, from Agni Yoga by Nicholas and Helena Roerich, vegetarians, part 1 of 2 on Words of Wisdom. The esteemed mystical and philosophical writers Nicholas and Helena Roerich are two of the most influential spiritual thought leaders from Russia, recognized for founding the doctrine of Agni Yoga, also known as living ethics, believed to be a synthesis of all yogas, spiritual disciplines. Agni Yoga focuses on the daily practice of love, beauty, and noble action. Nicholas Roerich was also a highly esteemed artist whose illuminating paintings, charged with the energy of his mystical experiences, drew many pilgrims from around the world. His wife, Helena Roerich, was the incentive for his interest in Eastern spirituality and theosophy. She is depicted in his painting titled She Who Leads. Traveling extensively throughout Asia to deepen their spiritual studies, the Roerichs eventually met their master in Darjeeling, India. The ascended venerated Master Morya, also known as El Morya, is a master of the Great White Brotherhood, an order of ascended masters and their incarnated disciples, one of whom was Helena Blavatsky. In fact, Master Morya inspired the founding of the Theosophical Society, and to the Roerichs he was the inspiration behind all of their noble ideals for the world. Morya revealed messages of higher wisdom to Nicholas and Helena Roerich, which they recorded on paper and later gathered into a series of texts. Today we will read a selection from Agni Yoga from 1929, a book containing some of the remarkably uplifting teachings of Master Morya, put into text by his disciples Helena and Nicholas Roerich. The excerpt serves as a pure spiritual inspiration for our modern and future generations, with an aim and emphasis on following the course of conscious evolution. Agni Yoga, 1929. The blessed Mahatma Morya, who gave the books The Call, Illumination, and Community, has given much counsel and the science of Agni Yoga. These practical indications were gathered by us for the use of those who seek knowledge. Sanskrit and Senza, ancient languages, lend a special flavor to the exposition and do not always find their equivalent in other languages. Nevertheless, the meaning of the expressions is preserved exactly, and those who take part in contemporary life will read attentively this wise teaching, which emanates from the experience of centuries. Preface. Yoga, that supreme bridge to cosmic attainment, has existed through all ages. Each teaching comprises its own yoga, applicable to that step of evolution. The yogas do not contradict each other. As the branches of one tree, they spread their shade and refresh the traveler, exhausted from heat. His strength regained, the traveler continues on his way. He took naught that was not his, nor did he divert his striving. He embraced the manifested benevolence of space. He liberated the preordained forces. He mastered his single belonging. Do not reject the forces of yoga, but like light, carry them into the twilight of labor, unrealized. For the future, we arise out of sleep. For the future, we renew our garments. For the future, we sustain ourselves. For the future, we strive in our thought. For the future, we gather strength. First, we shall apply the counsels of life. Then we shall pronounce the name of the yoga of the time approaching. We shall hear the advancing footsteps of the element of fire, but we shall already be prepared to master the undulations of the flame. Therefore, we hail the yoga of the past, the Raja Yoga, and we affirm that of the future, the Agni Yoga. They will ask, can the time of Maitreya, future Buddha, create a new era? Answer, if the Crusades brought a new age, then truly the era of Maitreya is 1,000-fold more significant. In such consciousness should one proceed. People do not realize the meaning of God or Bodhisattva. As though blind, they ask, what is light? But people even lack words to describe its properties, though daily they perceive light. So wary are people of the unusual that they are confused about the boundaries of light and darkness. It is simpler for them to conceive of God inhabiting a palace upon the largest star, otherwise their God would remain dwellingless. Their manifest lack of co-measurement impels them to demean what exists. Often you wonder why I do not reply to a question. You must know that the arrows of thought often graze the subject of the answer. Imagine a traveler who is crossing an abyss upon a rope. Would it be wise to begin calling him? The call may disturb his balance. Therefore, one should pronounce names less often, reserving them for urgent need. The ability to use individual names is necessary, but uttering them should be like the blow of a hammer in space. Regarding simpler words for simple people, one should remember that simple people need smaller doses of medicine. There is the identical law, as above, so below. Therefore, simple people are the best disseminators. One can visit different planets in one's mental body. Thus is indicated that future step when consciousness will not be confined to the one planet. As we now cross from one part of the world to another, the same principle will be applied in interplanetary crossings. The teacher bids you rejoice at each attainment of the spirit. The way to and from other planets is no more difficult than is the passage between the physical and astral bodies, no more complicated than understanding the process of thought and striving to the stars. Only in striving for the interplanetary can we be assured of the evolution of humanity. The manifestation of new rays prompts beautiful additions to our plans. The densification of the astral body is inconsequential in itself when compared with the conscious work of the mental body. For one's tasks on this planet, the mental body need not be released from its shielded condition, but this highest body is needed for interplanetary activity. The affirmation of new rays will permit one to retain consciousness in diverse spheres. Formerly, only certain strata of the atmosphere permitted the retention of consciousness, but interceptions by gaseous currents were still possible. However, the new rays can penetrate these interceptions, creating open channels and thus expanding the conscious activity. Work on the utilization of these rays is underway at our community. Usually they have no significant effect on the brain, but sometimes they can be quite dangerous. One can point out why the teachers of knowledge experienced such suffering on departing Earth. Of course, this suffering was conscious and voluntarily chosen. Just as the host fills the guest's cup to the brim, so does the teacher desire to impress this last sign of his teaching. The poisoning of Buddha spared him from deification. The suffering and resurrection, or the transformation of matter, by Christ provided the attainment of the supreme earthly achievement. But no one knew about the disintegration of the body into the atomic state. People thought that his body had been stolen away by his disciples. The slander of the old world is of no consequence. Each true achievement is needed for cosmos. The creativity of Podvig, achievement, feat, self-perfecting, self-denial, is the same in every process of creation. In augmenting the profundity of the form, we create an ageless crystal. The sense of perfection uplifts the spirit of creative manifestations. Christ, being a realist, desired that the phenomenon of transformation should be preceded by a Podvig in complete consciousness. One can point out two kinds of Podvig, the supermundane and the earthly. As an instance of supermundane striving, one can mark a serene passing. Let us not attempt to judge acts of Podvig, for the understanding of evolution is individual and voluntary. Anyone who is able to observe human auras may witness a vivid play of the emanations of light. Plans of rational action can be based on observation of this cosmic flux. Each sign of atrophy is connected with the products of darkness, but where there are waves of light, where the vital sparks interplay, there is our ray. My teaching can reveal the waves of the observed Akasha, the subtle, supersensuous spiritual essence which pervades all space. Welcome the joy of the sparks. This is not a diversion, but a deepening of the task. Only by manifesting our will can you approach. My wish is to preserve the beauty of spirit. Each motion can be transformed into an achievement of the spirit, commitment to the evolution of consciousness, and the onrushing whirlwind of events will lead to a new turn of the cosmic spiral. For more information and more of the Agni Yoga Society books, please visit agniyoga.org. Spiritual viewers, we thank you for your kind presence for today's words of wisdom. Please join us again tomorrow for part 2 of this program. Coming up next is 1,000 Years, Faith-Keeping, Petrus Clavra and St. Sophia Cathedral, right after noteworthy news. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for more constructive programming. May your souls bathe in the brilliant rays of heavenly light.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/WOW.
ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ ਅਨੇਕ ਭਾਸ਼ਾਵਾਂ। ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇਖੋ suprememastertv.com/schedule ਅਤੇ suprememastertv.com/WOW